Yes, everyone, welcome to the Sportsman Bet. My name is Stephen Howson. This is the final betting preview of the season, and what an absolute season it has been. There's been some phenomenal Champions League games over the last week. The title race is going right down to the wire, and with all these comebacks that's happening, maybe United can pull it out the bag and beat Cardiff this weekend. The title race as it stands then is looking like City are currently 1-10. That's 1-10 to become champions this weekend. Liverpool slightly outside of that at 6-1. They wouldn't give me odds on United winning it, funnily enough. It's going right down to the wire. Hopefully Manchester City do it. We don't want to see Liverpool with the potential of a League and Champions League double. Can you imagine how minging that's going to be? Not only is that minging, they're playing another English team in the final, and the Europa League finals also got the potential, at the time of recording, for it to be an all-English affair as well. That means all of the teams that are above Manchester United are either going to be champions of England or potentially champions of Europe in the different competitions, or at least fighting for it. In the middle of all this, what are Manchester United doing? Oh, Manchester United fans, we're unfollowing the main Twitter account because that's about all we can worry about at the moment. This Unfollow Manchester United campaign has started what looks like on Twitter over the last week or so, with fans disgruntled at the running of the club, the lack of what seems to be well thought out investment, because investment has been there, it's just been blown around like a lottery winner in a chip shop. So there needs to be a better run football club at Manchester United. The likes of Ajax showing us just what a good football club looks like. There's been countless examples of that across Europe all season, of teams that are just simply better organised than Manchester United, both on and off the field. Now, long term, is Solskjaer the man to take Manchester United forward? I think he has to be given the opportunity. The criticism that's been levelled at both Poch and Klopp, by me, let's be honest, is that they haven't won anything. Well, someone out of those two is going to win something this season. But let's not forget, this is a 4 or 5 year project for both of these managers. They haven't won anything up to this point with the current clubs that they're at, but they've been given time and they've been given patience. And that's what I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs more than anything else, is both time and patience. And the right people need to come in for the transfers. I don't want to see us doing what we did last summer, where Toby Alderweireld was an option that we could have picked up for not a lot of money, and there was no money available for him. Yet there was the same money or more money available for Raphael Varane, who probably never even wanted to come to Manchester United in the first place, but the money was available because he's a shirt-selling player. We need to forget that mentality as Manchester United. We need to forget that how many Instagram followers this guy has. It's not about spending money, it's about recruiting the right players. And there's some phenomenal players available on free transfers. There's some phenomenal players available in the lower half of the Premier League. Good scouting can pick up really good players. We don't just have to go for who's the highest rated on FIFA. It's not about that. It's about fitting players into a system, which is what, admittedly, the likes of Manchester City have done, Liverpool have done, and Tottenham have done over the years as well. That's what United need to do. And I think that's what the heart of this Unfollow Manchester United campaign is. Now, the actual view count or the actual Twitter following is going up as well as going down, because I think there's been some accusations of bots been levelled at Manchester United, that they're buying bots to get fake followers. And I think there's a little bit of opposition fans jumping in the mix as well and getting in them, just going following Manchester United to sort of wreck the campaign. I think the campaign is good in spirit, but I think it needs a bit more direction. It needs a bit more of a measurable plan. If we get a measurable plan, then I think that the whole fan base probably unite behind it. As for the specific positions that Manchester United are looking at, well, to be honest, I think it's absolutely imperative that Manchester United need a centre-half. Now, there's been rumours coming out that Solskjaer doesn't want a centre-half, and there's also been rumours coming out that we're looking at different centre-halves. Maguire was one that was pulled out for people to be saying that he's going to be one that we're going for. Myself, I would love us to go with De Ligt. I think De Ligt would be absolutely everything Manchester United need, and Van der Sar's recently come out and said that he's going to go to a big club and he thinks it'll be in England or in Spain. The fact that he mentioned England, I think, is really curious. I think there's only one place that Van der Sar would like to sell someone if he was selling someone in England, and that would be Manchester United. Are we going to waste what's probably going to be half or more than half of our budget on one player? Maybe, maybe not. But De Ligt is a leader. Despite his age, that is a guy that could potentially wear the captain's armband. Aside from him, I'd love to see Koulibaly. I think that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Again, the guy's a leader. United lack leadership. And the other one that I would probably like to see was Toby Alderweireld. I mean, that's just 3 centre-halves off the top of my head. You could probably go and find another... You could probably find 100 centre-halves that would improve Manchester United. That's how bad things are with the club at the moment. Next to that, I want to see a right back brought in. I'd love to see somebody on the right-hand side, but really it depends on what Solskjaer's looking for as a formation. If we're going to persist with the sort of narrow 4-4-2 diamond that we've been playing with 2 strikers, then a right winger's not necessarily someone that is needed. I think Gareth Bale's always an option with Ed Woodward in charge. I think there's a player that's constantly linked with Manchester United. I'm sure he's probably going to end up here at some point. Doesn't seem to be favoured at Real Madrid. There's so many names out there, but for me, again, it's not about who we sign. It's about what we sign. Is it the right person? Is it the right position? And is it what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs? What we saw with his teams at Mulder is he likes to play the ball on the floor. He likes to build up from the back. So we got to have people in the squad that are going to facilitate that. If we can do that, then I'm sure we're going to be fine. If we just go and sign shirt sellers, then as we've said, with the 5 teams that are above us, all competing for silverware, well, they're going to be in the shit for a long time, aren't we? And they're looking over our shoulder, Wolves, Leicester, Everton, they're teams that are snapping at our heels. And United could really sink down to 9th or 10th if we don't get our act together this summer. That plus all the players that need to leave, there's probably 6 transfers needing before we even start looking at outs. And I think it's a very real and very scary prospect that United could go into this and be forced into selling David de Gea, because he's not going to sign his new contract by all accounts, which means that he's entering the last 12 months of his contract, and United would be silly to let a £100 million asset walk out the door next summer. You might as well cash in on him now and get a new goalkeeper in before you lose the transfer fee and you have to spend £100 million anyway. There's also the very real prospect that Paul Pogba could walk out of the door, and I think some Reds will be like, yep, sound, not even bothered, he's not done anything in the United shirt. But the reality is, he is our best outfield player, and losing him would be a blow if he's not properly replaced. And I don't trust this board to properly replace him. There's also talk of Sanchez going, Juan Mata going, Ander Herrera seems like he's all but done to Paris Saint-Germain, Lukaku, and there could be so many players leave, and all of them are going to need replacing. Darren Fletcher has been rumoured to be coming in as the director of football. There's also talk of Rio Ferdinand. Personally, I would rather that we went with someone with connections outside of Europe. You know, it was like when Ryan Giggs was being touted. His knowledge at Manchester United was very deep, but I think in this job you need someone that's very broad. You need someone that's probably worked in 2 or 3 countries, that knows what's going on with all of those, rather than someone that's just been at Manchester United and West Brom. So if Darren Fletcher's getting the job, I hope it's because he's got good credentials and not that he's just the next player from Manchester United. This is someone that needs to have contacts around Europe. This is where favours get done. Ed Woodward walked in to the job at Manchester United, tried to bully Athletic Bilbao in, try and sign Ander Herrera, and massively ballsed it up. That's the sort of thing that we're dealing with a CEO like Ed Woodward. This job that he's doing is basically an agent, is what you need to be. And you have to be friends with these guys, and you have to be friends with these guys. And if you want a favour off these guys, you've got to do them a favour. It's all about contacts, it's all about people that you can work with, it's all about those you've got a relationship with. You don't just walk in and go, I'm Manchester United, give me a player. That's when you get rinsed for the price. That's when you don't get the transfers that you want. That's why somebody like Andrea Bertra or Paul Mitchell from Leipzig, people who've built up these connections over the years, that's where they come in, and that's where they make a massive impact, because they've got those connections, they've got that respect, and they know the true value of what they're talking about. United sort that out, I think we're all right. If not, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Let's talk about the betting that we are having this week then. There's been a couple of bets amidst all the absolute carnage that's happened midweek in the Champions League. Let's look back. Let's have a look at what happened last weekend. We had this guy that put on a crazy double for Wilf Zaha to score from outside the area and Virgil van Dijk to score a header. And he won 1,500 quid off just £4 staked. Absolutely ridiculous. Fair play on that one, my friend. We also had someone that decided to bet on £100 at 18-1 for Liverpool to qualify, and Barcelona at one point was 1-20 to go through. Ridiculous odds. Fair play for having the stones to put that one on, my mate. That's a good winner. I've had absolutely no winners in the last week, obviously, for all the things that's gone on. For fans of the Royal Baby, it was 100-1 for the little nipper to be called Archie. Let us know in the comments if you did get a bet on that, or if you lost on that, what did you have as a bet on that? My bet for the weekend is going to be as follows. Now, Manchester United are playing Cardiff. We actually do have an opportunity to come into 5th place, but it does require Arsenal completely falling apart. Do you know what? I guess it's not the most unlikely thing in the world. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to go with the youth, and there is no youth that we want more than Mason Greenwood. The kid is absolutely flying. Surely a shoo-in for Young Player of the Year at Manchester United. I'm going to go with him as first goal scorer against Cardiff. Get a start, his first start for Manchester United against Cardiff this weekend, and you can get that at 4-1 with a couple of the bookies. If you fancy that, and you fancy any of the sign-up offers that we've got, check the link out in the description. Thank you for joining us for this season. Maybe we'll see you back again next season, but in the meantime, make sure to subscribe, keep it locked to the Sportsman Bet, and I'll see you in the next one.